Hello, welcome back to Go Time. My name's Dylan. This week I had hoped to do some more work on Tom's car with him, but unfortunately I'm sick and I don't want to get the family sick for Christmas. So I'm rolling solo. I'm going to do some more setup on my blue car here. So since last episode on this car, I've been talking to a lot of people about steering setups and the concept of jacking and all that sort of thing that I talked about in the last episode, if you haven't seen that episode. So I've done some suspension tuning and a bit of a change of ideology in my suspension setup, but I've been told that there's a few key things that I might be wanting to change in addition to those I did last episode to get the effects I'm looking for more. So last episode I spoke a lot about this concept called jacking, wherein you transfer the load of the car in initiation from the inside over all the way to the outside, utilizing this outside wheel, which is the only wheel pointing in the right direction, and moving a lot of the load back into the rear of the car to steer more with the rear than the front. And I did a little test and made sure that this concept was going to work well. I made it so our inside wheel is losing a bit of traction on entry and it's going to be dragging less and upsetting the car less. But something that I'm told is really important for this is a thing called scrub radius. Scrub radius is the radius of the arc that the wheel takes when it's turning. So from full lock to full lock, zero scrub radius won't move at all. It'll pivot on one point. But a positive scrub radius will move the wheel and tire outboard from the brake rotor and from the lower control arm, as well as the suspension pickup, and actually end up moving forward and back in an arc as it goes through its turning motion. And I'll tell you what, it's been quite hard to actually get a straight answer on why this is a desirable thing to have and how it actually affects jacking and the ways in which it just affects the car in drift at all. It's quite easy to find information on how suspension tuning works for a grip car, but everything's really just sort of theories and stabs in the dark a lot of the time with drifting. So my understanding of it, I think, is that when you increase the scrub radius, you allow the tire to have more leverage over the suspension components. So when you're transferring that load, the ground essentially has more of a mechanical advantage over the suspension, so it's going to be able to transfer the load more easily. That's the only thing that I can really think of, but I'm just told it feels better, so I suppose that's something I'm going to go for. And yeah, I've spoken to a bunch of people who have really solid setups who drive incredibly well, and they're all like, yeah, I run a 9 neg 27 on the front, or I run a crazy spacer on the front so that I get more scrub radius. And apparently it just feels better and you sort of drag less and you jack the car more. So the next step in order to gain a larger scrub radius is to see what kind of room I'm working with here. So this is a plus 15 millimeter lower control arm, so it pushes the brake disc out 15 millimeters from stock, which does allow the wheel to get more lock. It has more clearance on the inside there, but that does mean I'm losing another 15 millimeters of clearance to the guard. Then currently I have a 13x7 -1 on here, and it has an 8mm spacer. So I've already increased the scrub a little bit with that 8mm spacer, but I'm going to take it off and see what happens when I put a 1-inch spacer and see how much work I might have to do to run a 1-inch spacer. Ideally, I would just have a better spec'd wheel, something like an 8 -13, which is a stock SSR Mark II size, which I would like to go to. And that would actually mean that the tire would have more stretch to it and it would fit under the guard more easily. So when I put this spacer on, which will take this outer lip to the same distance from the hub as an 8 -13, I won't have as much clearance as I would with that wheel because my tire sidewall is more vertical than it would be with that setup. But it doesn't hurt to try. I think it will allow me to have more of that jacking effect as well as maybe more clearance on the inside to potentially get more lock in the future. So I'm going to give that a whirl, see how that goes. So I hope that you can see there what the difference is in the action of the wheel through its steering there. Sort of moves forward and back in the wheel well as you go, which obviously runs into heaps of clearance issues. First of all, I'm running out of clearance to my guard lip here. If I lower this onto that, it will just sit on that guard, which sucks. It's gonna move further back into the wheel well, so we might run into the firewall there. And it's moving further forward, so it could run into the front of the guard here, but it's not running into the frame rail and not running into the guard currently, so see how we go. But yeah, this is one of the biggest issues with trying to get more scrub radius into a car like this, especially with the Corollas, where they can't fit heaps under these guards. So not 100% sure what the decisions will be there in terms of what to clear and how much I want to work for it, but currently it does fully clear, which is cool. And side note, it's a bit of an acquired taste, or it's a bit, it's definitely a different attitude for a car, but when you have a big scrub radius and a pretty skinny tire on the front that's quite outboard, that look of seeing the back of the wheel and the whole suspension assembly when it's at lock is pretty cool. It does look pretty mad. It looks very, very serious. Now, it's also worth noting that one of the ways that you can drastically improve the handling of a drift car is by adding a lot of negative camber in the front. When you're steering both of the wheels, as say they turn left, they're both going to put camber in that direction. So the outside wheel is going to roll over, and say it's got heaps of negative camber. As it turns out, it's actually going to become flat. So you're going to plant that outside wheel on the ground. And that's the wheel that we're driving on. But the inside wheel, which we don't want to have too much of an effect over the ground, it's got heaps of camber. As it turns in, it's going to get even more camber. So there's going to be even less of the tire touching the ground as you turn. So that's super desirable. That would be great. And that would help heaps if I could get more camber into this. But being that we are in a Corolla, there are some really strong limitations to how much camber you can put into it. Being that the spindle and where the brake rotor mounts is directly welded to the strut, and they're at a right angle to each other, or thereabouts, not quite a right angle, but all we can do is tip the whole strut in and out. So we have the adjustment at the top on the camber top, which we've got all the way maxed out. The only way we can get more camber out of it is by pushing the bottom out, by putting a longer lower control arm onto it. So by actually pulling this whole assembly further out, we would get more camber out of this. But as we can see on the other side, we're running out of room already. So I was hoping to put like a plus 25, plus 30 LCA on this before I started thinking about scrub radius, and that would greatly increase the camber I would have in the front of this. But I wouldn't then be able to increase the scrub radius as well. So it's really a debate about whether I want camber or scrub radius. And I'm not really sure what the answer is. So I guess it's easier to try and just bolt on spacers, and hopefully I don't mangle my guards all the way beyond repair in the process of trying this. But yeah, it's really the debate that I have to have. Okay, so it's back on the ground. I've clearanced those guards. Hopefully this thing will start now, because those plugs were super fouled, and I'll see if this is going to hit anything. Sick. Let's putt this thing around and find out. Something is squealing. I think it's a tire in the back. Yeah. Alright, so it's pretty much constantly rubbing, which is a good start, but full lock. It's not rubbing on the firewall, which is good. So it's only rubbing on the guards, which is a great start. I'm sure you can hear that absolute racket. But shit, it gets a lot of lock, which is cool. But this is good news, I suppose. It's clearing for the most part, except for the just the scrubbing the guards. Yeah, the camera's wobbling all over the place, but it feels quite good. So yes, some clearancing to do. Bloody hell, it's so close to hitting, but it just doesn't. I did end up giving in and beating this in here with a hammer. But I just thought, you know, it's better to have the clearance and not need it than need it and not have it. Last thing I want to have is be full lock at, 100 kilometers an hour and have it grab and run into a wall and destroy the whole car. That would not be fun. So I've clearanced that a fair bit, and I've also put some more caster into it. This is where the wheel's currently sitting. It's a little further back than it was at the start of the video, but not quite as far back as I tried to get it. Alright, well now that I have that clearing as far as I can tell and the wheels aren't hitting the firewall, it's probably time to get to one of the maybe less important parts of my halfway hang prep, but very important to me, not necessarily very important to the driving of the car, but this front lip. I've got to do some more work on it so that hopefully I can get it done over the Christmas break, hand it straight to the manufacturer when they come back from their Christmas, and I can bang out a couple of these so I can blow one up immediately on my first lap at halfway hangs. Standing normally. What do I usually do with my hands? This is becoming a theme. The middle of the video is a part on a Land Cruiser. This is Tom's new HJ60 Land Cruiser.
Yep. My mate bought it at an auction. It was a deceased estate. Pretty sure one owner. It's all original. Just picked it up from the mechanic where I was getting roadworthy and picked some stupid shit as they always do.
Yeah, stitched us up.
Yep. But yeah, so we got tie rods, rubber pedals, wipers. I got to try get a new windscreen. This is my third 60 series.
The other one's back there,
my other one's
which you'll
back
see.
there, which is like full nut and bolt, re-zinked, brand new, everything. But yeah, I just really want to go on a trip with my family ASAP. So I don't want to have to put pressure on myself to finish my other one.
Yeah.
So I picked this up.
Which is an absolute pearl.
It's a gem, yeah.
Absolute gem.
Diesel, non-turbo,
Yeah.
slow, but we'll do it forever.
Yeah. Now I want a diesel really bad.
We just drag raced and he beat me in the petrol.
Yeah, you got smoked, well, by a whole half car length.
Sweet.
But yeah, this is a gem. We're going to bust some work out on it in the middle of this video here.
Yep.
And then I'm going to get back to my lip this evening, and then that'll be it, because I'm sleepy.
And Dylan's sick.
And I'm sick. Alright, well that's about all I have time for this week, and about all I can muster with my sick ass this week. I'm feeling quite unwell, but that's okay. And yeah, I'm not really sure whether I learnt anything this episode. I still don't really know what scrub radius does. I know what it physically does in the car and how it affects your clearance and stuff like that, but I guess we did learn about how much space there is in my wheel wells, and made a little more space in there, and tested out what sort of maximum scrub radius I could put into this would be. And with that knowledge, I think I'm going to try and find a happy medium. This amount of offset looks freaking awesome, but without the extra camber of an extended LCA, it's almost just never going to fit that tire under the guards without, I don't know, completely custom flares. So I think the plan now is I have these stock KE70 lower control arms. Currently I have plus 15mm LCAs in there and a 1-inch spacer. So I'm going to go to a plus 30 LCA and a 10mm spacer. So that'll be the same amount of offset from the brake rotor, but it will have a few degrees more camber. So it will tuck that tire in, and then we'll also get the positive effects of having the inside wheel have more camber on it when it turns. So we'll further remove some grip out of that side again. And that way it'll have less scrub radius, so it won't move back towards the firewall when we're at full lock quite as much. So I should be able to get away with putting my caster wherever feels good, as opposed to really trying to move it around for clearance purposes. It'll also mean that steering feel on turn-in and stuff like that will be a bit lighter and it'll be a bit more nimble with the extra camber. And I think that'll look heaps better. I think it'll drive heaps better. So that's the plan next episode, some extended LCAs. As far as the front valence is concerned, I feel like it's coming along quite nicely. I've just thrown some high fill primer on there so that I can get a better image of what's going on. It's really hard to gauge what the surface is going to be looking like when it's all different colors of bog and fiberglass. So it's coming along, feeling like it's starting to really take shape. I kind of have skipped a couple steps on it. I still need to fiberglass in the vent holes and on the back here and maybe make a few tweaks, but it's really coming along. I'm really happy with how it's looking, and I'll probably have to get Tom's help to get it over the line because he is a painter by trade and has done heaps of bodywork like this. It's not really my forte, so I'll probably try and get his help on it a little bit. But yeah, that's me for this week. I'm Dylan. This is go time. I'm going to go lie in bed and blow my nose a million times. Goodbye.